Hey guys, this is Rachel from Cypress Textiles, and today we're going to be making the full rose hexagon from the Dutch Rose Blanket Crochet Along Reboot. So this is an updated video for this full rose hexagon, and I'm going to be using Shape Just Stone Washed. And if you're working along the crochet along for this is just yarn A that I'm using for the original colorway. And I'm using a 3.75 millimeter hook. And so I'm just going to go ahead and get started with a slip knot and chain 3 and slip stitch in the third chain from the hook to make a ring. And then all in this ring, I'm going to first make a beginning 2DC cluster. So what that's going to entail is a single crochet, a chain 1, and then a double crochet. And so it is a beginning double crochet, which is single crochet chain 1, and a full double crochet. And this together is going to be the first cluster of the round. So this is a 2DC cluster and the first one of the round. And then I'm going to chain 2. And then I'll make a regular 2DC cluster. So I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook and pull up a loop, draw the yarn through 2 loops on the hook, and repeat that again. Yarn over, insert the hook, pull up a loop, draw the yarn through 2 loops on the hook. And now I've got 3 loops total, and I'll just draw the yarn through those 3 loops for my 2DC cluster. All right, so now I'm going to chain 2 and make 2DC cluster until I have 6 2DC clusters and 6 chain 2 spaces. All right, so I'll show you guys how that looks when I'm done. Okay, so now I have 6 2DC clusters, and that includes the beginning one, and 6 chain 2 spaces. So now I'm ready to join my round to finish round 1. So I'm going to join into this first cluster, and I'll show you how I do that. I just insert the hook through these front 2 top loops of the double crochet. All right, so I just ignore the beginning double crochet and just go straight into the full double crochet and just go into those front 2 loops. And that's where I'm gonna make my slip stitch. And I feel in this way, it makes this first double 2DC cluster fit in with all the other ones. It makes it look the same as the others. So now we're gonna move on to round 2. And I'm going to make a beginning double crochet into this first chain space. So that just means go straight into a single crochet and make chain 1. All right, so I don't chain up for a single crochet. I just go ahead and go straight into it. So now I'm gonna make 4 more double crochet in the same chain space. And then I'll make 5 double crochet in all of the remaining chain spaces. All right, so here I am with 30 total double crochet, 5 in each of the 6 chain spaces. And now I'm ready to join with a slip stitch to finish my round. So I'm gonna join into this first beginning DC. And the way that I do that is I join into this chain space, but make sure that you don't just grab this back loop only, because then you're gonna end up with a hole here, kind of like a big hole, whenever you do your slip stitch. So what you want instead is to grab the first leg of this leading loop also, and this loop here. So just go in between so you can make sure that you get that part of the loop as well, the leading loop going out, and then you can make your slip stitch. All right, and don't tighten up that slip stitch either, because it has to float over the top of that beginning DC. And I could just take a minute to explain kind of the anatomy of a beginning double crochet. So this is kind of why I use beginning DC in my work, and I get that question a lot, so I'll go ahead and answer it now. So I use single crochet, chain 1, and then this slip stitch that you close to join with to make my double crochet. So you can kind of see the single crochet looks like this part of the DC, and the chain 1 looks like this part, And then when you join with the slip stitch in this stitch, and then you on the next round work into the next stitch, which is what I have you do, or chain space, then this ends up being the top V that you're looking for on the full double crochet. So these three elements together kind of make up these three elements of the full double crochet. So hopefully that makes sense, and that's why I work all my subsequent rounds on the next stitch, or the mostly, unless, you know, in the pattern I have to, but I try to have you work into the next stitch or chain space. So right now we're gonna do a slip stitch in the next stitch to go ahead and start round 3, and make sure you don't tighten it up because you're going to travel across the top of that stitch to get to this stitch right here. So now you're going to beginning DC in the next stitch, which is the center double crochet of this 5 DC group. So just go ahead and make a single crochet chain 1 for the first DC of the round. And now I'm going to make chain 2 and then double crochet in the same stitch. Okay, then chain 1, skip 1, double crochet, all right, and then double crochet in the next stitch as well. Chain 1, skip 1, and now we're at our corner where we're going to do double crochet, chain 2, double crochet. Okay, so this is how the side looks. This is the first corner, the beginning DC, chain 2, DC, and then you can see where all the stitches are there, so you can make yours look just like mine. We're going to keep going around. Chain 1, skip 1, double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet, chain 2, double crochet, all in the next stitch. Okay, so now I've done 2 repeats there. I'm just going to continue around until I get back to the beginning here, and then I will join. All right, so now you can see we've got our little hexagon going, and I did join with the slip stitch in the beginning double crochet. And so now I'm ready to start round 4. So what I'm going to do is into this first chain 2 space, I'm going to make a beginning 2DC cluster. So I'm going to go straight in for a single crochet, chain 1, and then double crochet. And that's our first cluster of the round. And now I'm going to chain 2, make a normal 2DC cluster in the same chain space, chain 2, make another 2DC cluster in the same chain space, chain 1. All right, so you can see our first corner there, 2DC cluster, chain 2, 2DC cluster, chain 2, 2DC cluster. And now I'm going to just work a double crochet in each of these 2 DC here. All right, and chain 1, and now I'm ready to work in the next corner. 2DC cluster, chain 2, 2DC cluster, chain 2, and 2DC cluster. Okay, and then chain 1, and I'm ready to work my next side. Let me just show you how this looks here. When I start my next side, I'm just going to, I've already done my chain 1, I'm just going to do double crochet in each of these 2 stitches, and then just keep working around until I'm back to the beginning. All right, so I've completed the round and made my join into the beginning 2DC cluster, just like how I did for the first round. All right, so you can see where all the stitches go here, and we're going to start with our next round, which is pretty simple. We're just going to slip stitch in this first chain, and when I have you slip stitch into a chain, it's not the chain space, it's directly into this chain. So you could just grab the front of the loop here and make your slip stitch into the chain itself. And now we're going to make a single crochet, chain 3, okay, single crochet in the next chain space, chain 3, single crochet in the next chain space, and now we're going to make single crochet in the next 2 stitches, 1 and 2, and then in the next chain space, single crochet. All right, so we've got 4 singles in a row here, chain 3, single crochet in the next chain space, 3 times, chain 3, single crochet in the next chain space, and last time, chain 3, single crochet in the next chain space. And now we're ready to do 2 singles in a row over these next 2 stitches, and then 1 single in the next chain space. Okay, so what you have going on here are your first start of the round is these 2 chain spaces, but then when you actually finish your corners, you're going to have 3 chain spaces in the corner and 4 single crochet in a row in between. Okay, so I'm going to keep going around making my chain loops and my single crochets until I'm back to the beginning. Okay, so I'm nearly finished with the round. I do just need to join, but I wanted to show you how you have your 3 chain loops in each corner and your 4 single crochet in between. And then I wanted to show you how the very last thing you're going to do is chain 3 and then single crochet in the first stitch. And that is what's going to finish your 3 loops at the beginning, since you only had 2, but the last one completes the corner. All right, so now we're done with round 5. I'm ready to start round 6 with another slip stitch in the first chain. And then, actually, I think I don't have you do that in the pattern on this one. I think you could just go straight into making 2DC cluster, beginning 2DC cluster with single crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. No reason to slip stitch there, so I don't think I had you do that. And now we're going to chain 3, and that's going to be in our corner. This chain 3 is going to be in our corner. 2DC cluster in the same chain space. All right, so that's our corner, beginning 2DC cluster, chain 3, 2DC cluster. Now I'm ready to work into the next chain space. I'm not going to chain anything here. I'm just going to go straight into making a 2DC cluster in the next chain space. Chain 2, 2DC cluster in the same chain space. Chain 2, and 2DC cluster in the same chain space again. All right, so now I've got 3 2DC clusters here with chain 2 in between. And without chaining anything, I'm going to work into the next chain space and do that exact same thing again. Okay, 2DC cluster, chain 2, 2DC cluster, the same chain space, chain 2, 2DC cluster in the same chain space again. All right, so you can see there, these 2 chain spaces on either side of the 4 single crochet, they match. You've got 3 2DC clusters with chain 2 in between. And now I'm up to my corner. So without chaining anything, 2DC cluster, chain 3, and 2DC cluster in the same chain space. And that completes the corner. All right, so it's a lot of clusters on this round because these are our petally type rounds. So we're going to keep going here, and we're into a repeat. So our next 2 chain spaces are these 2 with the matching clusters in it. All right, so I'm just gonna make those 2, and then I'll just go around and finish. I'm just going to show you what it looks like when it has 2 sides completed. Okay, I'm done with that little chain space. Now move on to the next one, just like before. And then when I'm done with these, I'll be at another corner. All right, so there's our 2 chain spaces with the clusters and the chain 2 spaces in between. And here's how we're looking so that you can see if yours matches mine. All right, I'm gonna keep working around, and then when I get back to the beginning, I'll show you. All right, so I'm done with the round. And sometimes whenever it's just like a more kind of busy round, I like to show the moment before joining. So you can see the very last thing that I did was make this 3 2DC clusters with chain 2 space in between. And now I'm ready to join with a slip stitch into this beginning 2DC cluster. And that finishes up round 6. And this is the ruffly round. You can see it already kind of looks ruffly. This is the round that's gonna sit on top of the background here so that it looks 3D and nice and cozy. So what we're gonna do now is work into the single crochet from round 5. And we're gonna work those with back post single crochets. So I'm going to okay, previously I had you cut yarn here, but I'm gonna just have you elongate this loop, or you can work like 3 chains. It's gonna be hidden. So in the pattern I have you just elongate the loop. If you work chains, it's fine because you're still gonna be able to reach. If you don't elongate the loop, what's gonna end up happening is this petal is gonna fold backwards when you try to do a back post single crochet right here. So if you chain 3, you'll probably reach it. Yeah, you reach pretty good. Maybe chain 4 and you can reach. Like I said, it's gonna be hidden behind, but I just basically elongate the loop so that I can reach down there. So that's what I have you do in the pattern. So just elongate that loop enough to reach down to this first single crochet of round 5. And you're gonna reach down the back, go ahead and insert your hook like you're gonna do a back post single crochet around that stitch, and then grab your yarn and make your back post single crochet. All right, it looks a little funny, but once you join it, then it's gonna be looking good, and you can see the back post single crochet there. All right, so from the back, you can see that it's just hanging out right there, and it's gonna be fine on the back. You won't be able to see it from the front. All right, so now I'm gonna chain 3 and back post single crochet around the next single crochet of round 5. All right, so you can see it from the front. We've got those back post stitches here. And when I look at the back, now I have this loop. All right, chain 3 and back post single crochet around the next single. And this is the first single of this 4 single crochet group here. So you have to kind of put your hook into the space in between to get that stitch isolated. So I kind of like to dig the hook part there, just go straight in between, and that way I can make my back post single crochet. There we go. Chain 3. Okay. Go into this one here. So we're going into we're skipping these 2 single crochet and making back post single crochet around the last single of that 4 single group. All right, okay, back post single, chain 3. Now these 2 are the easy ones because the singles are just by themselves. So just make your back post single and chain 3, and your next back post single crochet, chain 3. All right, so I'll show you from the front. You can kind of see, you can't really tell that there's back post singles there, but you can see it a little bit. And when you turn the petals toward you, you can see you have this series of loops that's forming. You know, work into these chain loops on the next round. Okay, so we're going to keep going. We've got chain 3, and we're going to back post single around this next single crochet on round 5. Here we go. Chain 3. And skip these 2 middle single crochet and back post single crochet around the last one. Okay, chain 3. And we're well into a repeat, but I just wanted to show you that a couple times. So I'm going to keep going, working my back post single crochet around these next couple, and just keep going just like that around. And when you are done, you should have 24 of these chains spaces and 24 back post single crochet. All right, and I'll show you how it looks from the front and the back once I'm all done. All right, so my round is done. I just need to join in the first back post single crochet. So I wanted to show you the back. You can see the loops are there, and from the front you can just kind of see the back post stitches, but it's not something that really stands out. So I'm going to just make a slip stitch in this first back post single crochet to join my round. All right, and now I'm ready to start the next round. So I'm going to make a slip stitch in the first chain, and then make a beginning double crochet. And you can see on this completed motif, our corner is going to be 2DC, chain 2, 2DC, but I'm going to start with this beginning double crochet here and then chain 2. That's going to be in our corner. 2 double crochet in the same chain space. All right, and I'm working with these petals kind of squished down and tilted forward so that I can work into the chain spaces. So in the next 3 chain spaces, I'm going to make 3 double crochet each. So just go ahead and start working 3 double crochet in each of the next 3 chain spaces. There's the first one, the second one, and the third one. 3 double crochet. And then I'm going to be at a corner. All right, so here's what our side looks like. And then I'm at the corner, so let me just squish these petals forward. And this is our corner chain space. And you can just tell because it's in the same location as that 2DC cluster, chain 3, 2DC cluster. So just make sure you get yourself to where you're situated at the corner here and make 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet. Chain 2, all in the same chain space. All right, so that's how the corner looks, and the side. And you can see each side is going to have 3 double crochet in each of these 3 chain spaces, and then your corner will have 2DC, chain 2, 2DC. And you're just going to keep working around. So the next thing I'm going to do here is jump into 3 double crochet in the next 3 chain spaces, and I'm just going to keep working around that way. Okay, so I finished this round, and I just wanted to show you with the petals kind of pushed down inward. You can see the round really clearly, and this round was pretty straightforward, just a bunch of double crochet with 6 chain spaces, and between each chain space you'll have 13 double crochet, all right, between each corner chain spaces. Okay, so now I'm ready to work round 9, and this is just going to be a chain space round. So straight into this chain space, I'm going to make single crochet, chain 3, single crochet, all in the same chain space. That's going to be our corner. And now I'll chain 3, skip 2, single crochet, okay, chain 3, skip 1, single crochet, and now I'm going to chain 3 and skip 1, but before I go into this next single crochet, I'm going to take my hook while my loop is still on there and just kind of put this petal up, and then we're going to go in between this space right here, in between the space between these two 2DC clusters in the center. So just insert your hook in the space. You're not going into any stitch here, just right into that space, and then insert your hook into this double crochet where you're going to make your next stitch. Right, so you're still just skipping 1. You're going to skip this DC and you're going to work your single crochet into this DC. But before you work into that DC, you're going to go through the space. Okay, then you can go into this double crochet, and while your hook is through both, that's when you're going to make your double crochet, your single crochet, sorry. So there's your single. All right, so you see what that's done. It's encased the side of this ruffle round here. It's encased the side of the petal side so that you can have the sides anchored. So that's why when you lift up this round, it's anchored right there because that single crochet has anchored it. So now I'm going to chain 3 and then kind of tilt my petals forward so I can see this round again. Skip 1, single crochet, chain 3, skip 1, single crochet, chain 3, and now we're going to work into our corner, single crochet, chain 3, single crochet. All right, and I'm just going to work chaining 3. I'm just going to go into my repeat again. Remember to skip these first 2 and single crochet in the next one. Chain 3, skip 1 now, single crochet, chain 3, and then we're at our middle double crochet here, so skip 1 and insert your hook into the space, and then go into the stitch that you're going to work into for your single. Make your single crochet, chain 3, and continue. And so you can see how this round is looking. I still kind of have these petals folded forward, so you can see where the loops are and where the stitches are. And then once you fold this back, you can see it anchored there. All right, and the next anchor is here. Okay, so we're just going to continue around until we get back to the beginning. Okay, so my round is done. I slip stitch joined into the first single crochet, and this round kind of pulls everything together to start working your final 2 rounds on the back side of these petals. So now the petals are anchored, and the motif feels super cozy at this point. It feels thicker at this side because it's got 2 layers here, so it feels really nice. So now we're going to work on the second to last round, and it's just another double crochet round. So the first thing I'm going to do, you can still pull these petals forward if you want to. The first thing I'll do is slip stitch in the first chain, and then beginning double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet in the same chain space. And now we're just going to work 2 DC in all of the chain spaces across. So you've got 6 chain spaces here. You're just going to work 2 double crochet in each of those. And the motif is smooth sailing from here on out. There's no more tricky anchor stitches or back post, this and that. So this is just double crochet, and the next round is just a single crochet round. So smooth sailing. All right, so I'm just making my 2 double crochet in each chain space across. And then when I get to my corner, I'm gonna do 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet in the corner chain space here. 2DC, chain 2, 2DC. Okay, so here is how my side looks. Very simple. 2 double crochet in each chain space, and then 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet in the corner. And when you get back around to the beginning, make sure you work 1 more double crochet in this corner to complete it before you finish your round. That way you've got 2 DC here. I just start with my beginning DC, chain 2, so we can always end up in the corner. That's just how I like to do it. So when you go around, don't forget to add your double crochet back in this corner. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish that out and then join. All right, so my round is done and I've joined with a slip stitch in the beginning double crochet. And this is the second to last round complete. You can see this is just a super simple round. And in between each of the chain space corners, you've got 16 double crochet. All right, so that way you know you got the right stitch count. Okay, so this next round is just really simple. You're just gonna put 3 single crochet in the corner chain space, and then single crochet in every stitch across, and 3 single crochet in the corner. And that is just, I'm gonna show you how it looks when it's done. All right, just do 3 singles in the corner and all the singles across. So this is what the motif looks like when it's finished. And I wanted to show you how to do the join. So when you work a motif that doesn't have to be joined to any other motifs at that moment, then you can just work it complete and work all the way around and then join with the slip stitch in the first single crochet, and then your motif is finished. But once you have to join, if you're using the join in the pattern, which is a single crochet join as you go on the last round, then this is how you're gonna do it. So you're just gonna work your first 2 single crochet of the round. You can work a whole side, it's fine, but I'm just gonna start at the very first corner here. So 2 single crochet, and then take your hook out of the loop and insert your hook into any corner on this motif, this completed motif. It doesn't matter which corner. Insert your hook, then grab the loop and pull the loop through to the front of the work, and that is called PLT join. That's my PLT join. That's how you do that PLT joining maneuver there. So you just pull the loop through to the front, and that is what's gonna join your motifs together. Now you can just complete your 3 single crochet with 1 more single. Okay, release the loop, insert the hook into the next stitch because that's the mirrored stitch on the completed motif. It's the corresponding adjacent stitch. Insert the hook through and grab the loop, pull loop through, and that's joining your next stitch. So just keep working your single crochet. You're working exactly as you would if you were working it complete, but you're stopping in between to release that loop, insert your hook, and pull the loop through. Okay, next stitch, single crochet, pull loop through. Okay, you're just gonna keep going all the way across, and I'll show you in a second how it's joining together. I just want to let you see this kind of in real time. Oops. So you can see what it looks like when I join. Make sure that you grab onto that loop. Once you get the hang of this, it's actually just a really great join because it's flat and it's sturdy. And you can work pull loop through after double crochet. It doesn't have to be after a single because you're just pulling the loop through. So you can do it on flat braid join, which is how I do mine. Any stitch can be interrupted to pull the loop through and join. So I'm just showing you how it looks here. Just keep going into the subsequent corresponding adjacent stitch on the completed motif. And if you lose the loop, you can find it and try to pull it through, or you can back out a little bit to get that loop. All right. We're almost to the corner, and I'll show you what to do in the corner. Okay. So I'm at my corner chain space, so you know I'm going to be putting 3 single crochet there. So when I look at my completed motif, I've got my 3 single crochet there coming up, which makes sense because I'm at the chain space on both motifs since I've been joining in every corresponding stitch. I have a great little diagram of this on the blog post for Dutch Rose full hexagon, which I'll link in the description. But we're going to go straight into this chain space with a single crochet and join it to this next stitch, and then we are done joining sides. So this side is joined, and anytime you see this join looking like this in the wild, that is my PLT join. So you're finished joining all the sides that you're going to join, right? Because you only have one side to join here. So if you had 2 sides to join, you'd be finished. You'd join your 2 sides, and then anytime you're finished with sides, you work 2 single crochet here without joining. All right, so that is your first, second, and third single of the corner. And then just continue around your motif without joining. And that is how you're going to finish the motif. Just continue all the way around until you're back to the beginning, and then slip stitch in your first single crochet to finish it off. Now, once you are about to join, let's say you're going to join 2 sides instead of 1. So I would definitely take a look at the diagram for this, but I will explain it since I'm here. So I'm just going to keep working on this a little bit more. But let's say you have 2 sides to join. So, okay, I'm to this corner, so I'm going to stop. All right, so if I'm going to join here, I'm going to put a hexagon right here, right? So I'm going to join this side, and I'm going to join this side. So how I would do that is I'm going to make my first 2 single crochet stitches, just like I did before, and then release the loop, insert my hook through this corner single crochet, pull the loop through, right? And join my first side, exactly just like I just did. But then when you get here, you're gonna have your 3 corner stitches, just like you did before, just like whenever you came up to this chain space, and you're gonna join to that first stitch like we did before, and then you're gonna make your second single crochet of the corner, and you're gonna join it here. That's the main takeaway. So you're gonna join it, insert your hook in here, and pull your loop through here. So this center. So it's the adjacent one would be this center, but since you're joining 2 together, you're gonna skip over this one. It's already been worked into, and you're gonna go in this one, which is open. So you're gonna join your center single crochet in here, and then join your 3rd single crochet of the corner right here, because that's your new adjacent motif. You're going to work along this side now, and then you're going to join this side like before. And then remember when I said once you're done joining sides, just make your 2 single crochet without joining anything to finish your corner, and then finish your motif, all the sides plain without joining, and slip stitch into your first single and cut your yarn and weave your ends. So that's how you're going to join. I do recommend looking at the diagram on my site. So now I'm going to show you how to weave your ends, because I like to do it as I go, and this is how I do it. So you've got your cut end here, and you're just going to insert your hook through the back loop only of the stitch to the right of the joining stitch. Grab that yarn tail and pull it through to the back, and then just insert the hook back to front through back loop only on each next stitch. Back loop only, back to front, pull the tail through to the back. All right, so you can see how the tail is being woven in there. All right, so you can barely see right here in between these stitches, can barely see where the tail is, but it's, as you go across and use up all that tail there, just go ahead and go back to front through back loop only and pull the tail to the back. Then whenever you come across to join, or let's say this is on the perimeter, when you're coming across to fill in the triangle gaps or work the border, you're gonna, whatever you're about to do, you're gonna work into these stitches, and that tail is gonna be encased. So that is gonna be how your tail is not gonna go anywhere. This is how I've been burying the tail for years. Even you can do it for lace, as long as you just, if you wanna go to a smaller crochet hook so you don't stretch out this back loop as much. But either way, you're about to work around it anyway. So that should be everything that you guys need to know about the full rose hexagon for the Dutch rose blanket crochet along reboot. And I will see you guys on the next video when I talk about the striped hexagon. So this one has been the full rose hexagon, and I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye guys.